I don't know if the Giants are making the playoffs. Yesterday was a really, really tough watch. The Lions, hey, congrats to them. Likable team. Aiden Hutchinson played really well against the Giants. They're on a 3-game winning streak, but it was a dominating game from really the second quarter on. The Giants did have a drive after the Lions drove down for a field goal that was pretty convincing, where Daniel Jones rushed in for a touchdown at the end of that drive. But the Lions defense just shut down Saquon Barkley. And with the lack of weapons that the Giants have, with Kenny Galladay still playing like an embarrassment, with Wan'Dale Robinson tearing his ACL on that disgusting field turf that thank God is being changed, but that the Maras and the Johnsons were too cheap to actually change up until this point. With the Giants, for some inexplicable reason, trotting out their best corner, Adoree Jackson, for kick returns where he sprains his MCL and he'll be out for 4 to 6 weeks when they need to clinch a playoff spot. With Xavier McKinney being out because he broke his hand on a damn ATV on his bye week. The Giants are the most beat up team. And I know maybe some metric will say that they're not the most beat up team in the NFL, but they're the most beat up damn team in the NFL right now. It is unbelievable how little depth they have at receiver. The only guy they have at this point now is Darius Slayton. Everyone else is coming off the practice squad, off waivers. Credit to the Giants front office with this new regime that they keep replenishing the roster with guys off the street, but
and coaching them up. But that's the thing is
there's such a limit to that, and that was yesterday. Daniel Jones played fine. He threw 2 interceptions. He threw his first interception since week 3 or week 4. So, but I mean, largely he's been very careful with the football. He would needed to push the issue in this game because they were down.
Right.
And his first interception was not good, and it was in Giants territory. The Lions got it, scored a touchdown, but this team is a mess in terms of its salary cap. It's a mess in terms of the talent at the skill position, at skill position roles, and I don't know if I'm overreacting, but I'm just feel really bad about this upcoming Cowboys matchup, given what the Cowboys just did to the Vikings.
And honestly, how they're coming on now, how the offense
Cowboys
is
look
looking
so formidable, and they have more talent.
They carved up
so much more talent than the Giants.
They carved up an 8-1 team. They dropped 40 points on an 8-1 team. I totally understand your reservations or your trepidation there. But I think what we have to remember with the Giants too is that we credit Brian Daboll a lot with his ability to coach up these guys and make the most out of the people he has on this team, given the injury situation, given the lack of investment on both sides of the ball, financially, given even
bad investments.
Yes, or bad investments, exactly.
Right.
In the sense that like you're saying with Galladay, Sterling Shepard being injured. Relying so heavily on a rookie tight end and Daniel Bellinger and him missing time and being actually representing an offensive cog that is missing. Xavier McKinney missing time, Dane Belton missing time, having to rely on Dane Belton at safety, as well as rookies, practice squad guys, free agents off the street, essentially.
I mean, right tackle's out.
Right,
Tyree Phillips got banged up in the middle of that game, right? He was their swing tackle. Then we're putting in Matt Parrott again. He sucks. Whatever.
And Adoree Jackson has not been. He's
been playing. He's been playing really well, but he just got injured on the kick return because that is the one really massive coaching. Well, there were 2 coaching decisions in this game that I did not like from Brian Daboll. One is putting Adoree Jackson back there. I'm sorry. Get someone else. Get anybody else. I don't even. Yeah. I know that Richie James shouldn't be out there because he's fumbled and muffed multiple punts, but put him out there over your top corner who's been playing up to his contract this year.
But don't put your top corner in jeopardy potentially. in that type of situation
I just
when you
didn't.
have
Yeah.
another option.
And when we have no depth at that
Right.
position, right?
That's
And
the thing,
like,
though. It's like resource allocation in that way.
yes.
The drop from Adoree Jackson to the next person if Adoree gets injured is significant.
Oh
Relative
yeah.
to relative to the already kind of injury ravaged wide receiver room that the Giants already have.
So
And
I mean, go on, Bradley.
oh no, I was just gonna. The only thing I was just gonna say about the way we've obviously been really championing Dable and his ability to coach up these guys, like knowing the limitations of the roster. But what we also understand with that is the limitations of that coaching ability is that the margin for error is so low
Yeah.
because if certain mistakes are being made, or if the talent discrepancy, even against a Lions team that like we've been talking about a lot, the defense is not great. The offense has been sputtering. They obviously looked much better. Jamal Williams had a great day on the ground yesterday, but
Okudah went out with a concussion.
so it's not as if it's not to fully excuse that, obviously, because like Lions being the Lions, but it's just one of those things where you see the limits or see the edges of what can be done with this team because of the injuries, the circumstances surrounding the roster, and the lack. This isn't like when the Chiefs have a bad game or the Chiefs have a bad 3 quarters, knowing, oh, we have Patrick Mahomes as an ace in the hole. We that he can basically pull a rabbit out of a hat and win a game for
The
us.
wheels can fall
The
off.
wheels can fall off, and when they do, it's hard to put them back on.
The Giants are
Like-
doing a high wire act right
Yes,
now.
absolutely,
And,
absolutely.
And they're beginning to slip right now. And that's not the fault. I've criticized some coaching decisions. Oh, the other coaching decision was Brian Dable not going for 2 when it was so windy and they were missing kicks all the time. And also they were down by 12. Like, I'm not a math person, but if you go for 2 and you get it, then it's a 10-point game, and that's a lot easier than a 12-point, or than a 13-point,
But also
than an 11-point game.
Right, but also like you said, if it's not as if kicking was even providing a large advantage.
No, it was so windy. That was the issue. I mean, that was another reason why it was difficult once they took Saquon Barkley away. Daniel Jones actually, I thought, was throwing it pretty well in terms of, like, it looked nice coming out of his hand in the wind in particular, but it was not a good game. It was incredibly disheartening because of the injuries. And I think that the injury losses are worse than the actual loss to the Lions, who are an up-and-coming team. I mean, I'm looking at the Lions.
No, like, good for them, honestly.
Yeah, good for them.
Jamal Williams is leading the league in rushing touchdowns.
It's amazing.
Which is wild. I really was not expecting
DeAndre
that.
Swift owners are just so
Like,
not
what the-
owners, I should say managers.
But
managers.
but Swift, like, people expecting Swift to be the number 1 back,
Yes.
and Jamal Williams comes in as has 13 rushing touchdowns.
Yeah.
Jameson Williams apparently will be practicing this week, so that's exciting. No, it's definitely not a knock to be like, oh, like you said, there were a lot of variables here, and it's one thing to, like, we've been talking about the real deficiencies with the Lions, but like you said, like, this is a game where if the Lions were going to get right, or at least kind of continue playing a little bit better than they have been the last few weeks, because they've had a few pretty terrible losses.
Yeah, but now they're on a 3-game
and now they're on a
streak.
3-game winning streak. Like, I guess I just don't feel, and especially not for you because, like, I'm not a fan of the team, but, like, I don't feel like the secondhand embarrassment for the Giants losing this game as much as I do about the Jets-Pats game.
Well,
and obviously I know I'm biased in that regard, but I honestly, it just doesn't seem as much of a setback as the Jets game does to me. Because the Giants were really overperforming in a way where I'm like, I feel really great about where the team is in a way where I think it can sustain long-term with better players. The Jets, to me, I'm like, they have the surrounding core that is already good, but the nucleus is not ready.
Yeah, it is. The Jets have more talent than the Giants.
Without I would say significantly so, and that's why I think that, like, yes, losing to the Lions and while they're on like a 3-game win streak after kind of having one of the worst
Lions
defenses
might have
in the
more
league.
talent than the Giants.
Yeah, I think it's debatable. Maybe not on the defense. Maybe actually even on the defensive side at this point, given the injuries. But
yeah,
I know it's like I just mean I know like we've kind of like pilloried the Lions defense in the past and stuff.
They're
Like you
playing a
said,
lot
three
better.
3 game win streak.
Hmm.
Jamison Williams will practice. Jamal Williams has been playing really well. Maybe they found something a little bit more defensively. I just think it's not as like as much as I think the Cowboys game might be difficult just because of how it made how
9 point
the
spread.
how well oh my god 9 points how well the Cowboys played. Like I still feel like the Giants are in a place that they can build on this season, even like regardless of what happens the next
Yeah.
like 8 weeks or so.
I'm now just having so much anxiety about that game because it's going to be on national TV, and
No, right.
nope, and the casual fan isn't going to know how many injuries the Giants have, and say Daniel Jones fumbles, it's going to be the end of the world in the narrative. So great,
Yeah.
can't wait.
I
Happy
for,
Thanksgiving. I'm going to be so drunk.
I for one personally have never experienced a bad Thanksgiving game involving the Jets.
There you go. Silver lining.
Do you remember what happened on Thanksgiving?
No.
You don't remember what happened on Thanksgiving?
Was it the Buff fumble?
It sure was.
That was on Thanksgiving. Yeah. Wow, I totally forgot.
It will live in my. It'll be burned in my memory for as
Oh
long as I
my
live.
God, that was the butt fumble game. That's amazing.